So I filmed a similar video to this yesterday where I tried some things that were in my makeup basket, and I thought I would do it again today just because I need to put some makeup on for the day, even though we're like well into the afternoon at this point. But I did want to take a little bit of time to put some makeup on and then just kind of test these products out a little bit. This does not look good. Let's regroup here. So I think I do want to do a little bit of skincare before I go, and I'm going to tuck my shirt down just so I don't get any on the collar. I'm going to go in with this Joa Heal Me Sicca Cooling Gel Mist. I did do some skincare earlier today. But I've just kind of like hung out around the house and haven't really done much, so I want to kind of prep my face. And I also want to go in, I'll do this Glow Recipe serum that has, what is it, the Watermelon Glow. And I think that's good. So I'm gonna scoot my basket over here. The first thing I want to kind of try is this Iconic London Radiance Booster. So I don't know why I picked it up because I have tons of products like this, but this looked interesting to me. I'm gonna put a little bit on the back of my hand here. And it's like a little glowy, but not super glowy. And we'll just see, I'm gonna put a thin layer all over my face. So I think you can mix it in with foundation and all that good stuff, but we're just gonna put a little bit all over. And then the foundation I wanna use today is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime. This might be a little light for me, but I bought this like last year around Black Friday. Surprise, surprise. And never used it. The formula of this is very watery, so I'm gonna pick it up on the Sephora brush here. And actually I need to work it into the brush more. There we go. And then just kind of go all over and blend. And I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but I'm like looking in the monitor and I feel like this obviously leans a little yellow for me. But I'm not really going anywhere today. So we'll just leave it like this. And then I'll also see how the color wears and blends with other products and if it oxidizes. Or if I just like yellow for the rest of the day. But maybe by the time I put on my concealer and like my powder, my bronzer and all that stuff, it'll kind of pull the yellow out of it. And I'm gonna go in with my hands and just kind of pat it in and see if that kind of warms it into the skin. Because I feel like it's sitting on top a little bit more than I want it to. Okay, and I'm gonna go back in with the brush. I do want to take the antibacterial wipes and just like wipe all the product off my hands now. So let me zoom in close. So this is what it looks like up close on my skin, if it will zoom in. There we go. I don't think it looks terrible, but I always just like want my skin to look like skin. Okay, and it does kind of stay a little bit tacky, and it could be because I put niacinamide on underneath, so like that serum. So I will need to powder when I'm done putting on my sort of cream products. I do want to go in with a lip balm though. I'll just use this one. This is from Truly and it's their unicorn fruit. And I just happen to have it sitting here, but I think I'm gonna move it to my bedside table because I don't really care if my lips look kind of like purple when I'm in bed, but it looks a little bit silly right now. All right, so some cream products I wasn't really sure about this month were these Phytosurgeons blushes. I've had them, I've hardly used them, and I don't know if you can tell, but I think they're like kind of like separating like the fats in them or whatever is like coming to the surface. Oh, you can see in this one. And I'm just debating if I should use it or get rid of it, but we're gonna like test them out. And I think one where the color is like super interesting, I'm gonna start with this one and see if that's something that like I wanna keep and continue using. So I'm just gonna go in like that and then use this to blend. Because it spreads out nicer than the way it looks. But like the tone for me, I'm not sure if that's something that I'm gonna wanna like continue to use. I'm gonna go in. I usually have like a little brush, yeah, right here that I like to use for cream blushes. It almost looks bruised. And I'm not sure I love that, but I'm sure if I melt it into the area where I'm gonna be putting some bronzer, it will look less bruised. Yeah, that actually does look a little bit better there. But I think that this blush is just a little too cool toned for me. I like that it's muted. It's like a muted mauvey rose. And usually colors that are muted on my skin tone still look like they have quite a bit of color just because I'm a pretty light to pale olive. But I'm not sure I'm loving that. Okay, I do want to go in with a little bit of bronzer of some kind. And I want to warm up the face a little bit since I literally just put this like super kind of cool thing on my skin. And the warmest bronzer I know is the Chanel, because it almost goes orange. If I can like dig it out of here. Here we go. So the same brush that I used for that. And the one thing is I do like using this brush, but since it is like a natural hair type brush and it's supposed to actually be used for powder, you can kind of see I get brush hairs down in there, and then I always have to go in and pick them out with tweezers, which is annoying. It's gonna warm up around the bottom here. And so this is already starting to make the complexion look better to me. And that's the thing about color theory and like starting with your skin tone and then building products off of each other, is things that you would think normally like the colors wouldn't look that great together. Is that is that the color? Yeah, these two. You might not think, here we go. You may not think those would work well together, but actually, since this is kind of almost like yellow, it helps to counterbalance the purple in here, if that makes sense. Because this is a very orangey yellow sort of bronzer. So I do want to go in with a little bit of concealer around my eyes. And I probably should have done this before I went in with blush. But since I plan on doing a little bit more blush later, I think it's gonna be fine. And I really like using different tones and building a cheek, because I am also gonna use another blush. And the other blush I'm gonna lean for is not going to be pink. I'm gonna maybe try to find something maybe a little bit more coral. And the skin's gonna look more natural instead of just like putting coral on coral, like if I did like a coral blush and then topped it with if I did like a coral cream blush and then topped it with a coral blush, that seems like too much, whereas this still looks like skin and it still looks lively. But I do have, actually, I already know what blush I want to try to use. I got some new things from Viseart when they had a sale recently. And I'll save this one for another day. And because again, I don't know if these tones would work super well for me. But I also got this one, which I think would work very well for me. And then I also got like a bronzer. So maybe we'll also use the bronzer as well. So I'm trying to figure out how sticky my face is to see if I want to powder first. And I think I do. So I'm gonna go in with this La Mer powder on this puff here. And I'm gonna dab it out on the back of my hand first to kind of work it into the puff a little better. And then just kind of go, I'll even fold it a little bit. And this is a translucent powder, but I also find that it does also lean a little bit orange. And I'm gonna spot conceal these later, but I don't know, do I really need to? I'm not going anywhere. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of this blush, and I'm actually gonna just mix them kind of back and forth here, and then just dust them over. And then the brush, whoops. And then the brush I used for my foundation earlier, I'm gonna just kind of stamp that in a little bit. There we go. I think that looks nice and natural. And then now I want to bronze. Sometimes I'll do the blush after the bronzer, but I've been liking kind of bronzing everything up after I put the color on my face. And I can always go back in and add more blush if I feel like I want to. So I'm gonna go in with this brush. This is from Referral. It's the 22. I'm gonna start up here, work down the jaw over the bridge of the nose. And we're gonna leave it for now. I might wanna add more blush after I do the eye look. And I'm gonna start out with this Victoria Beckham. I guess it's a quad, but it's all one pan. But I wanna go in with that because I never use this thing. And I've had it for a very long time. So I'm gonna go in with the lightest shade first, which I find these, though, once you kind of get them on, they're darker than you think they are. And so you might wanna go a little bit lighter. But I never reach for this because I find that these lean a little bit cool and pink. And that's typically not what I go for. But I think since I used that cool tone blush under the warm one, it might work really well. And then I can go over it maybe with something that leans a little warmer or gold to kind of meld everything together. And again, just give a little bit of dimension. Still haven't done my eyebrows. I typically do that before I do eyeshadow. I'm still using the same color and whatnot, and it's the lightest color. So now I'm gonna go in with this color and that color, kind of dabbing back and forth and doing the same thing and just kind of building up on the outer corner here, just a little bit. All right, so this kind of color right here that's pink, those colors tend to look really nice towards the inner portion of the eye to kind of brighten up the eye. But like it leans pretty pink. I'm gonna go back in with that lightest shade and I'm gonna work it up into the brow bone. And then this brush, again, dabbing between this one and then this one. Gonna work it under the bottom lash line. And I'm debating on if I wanna go into that deepest shade and line a little bit. I'll go ahead and do it. I'm gonna smudge a little bit right in here. And then just kind of work it into the lash line just a little bit, and then maybe putting a little bit higher on this outer corner. And then I'm gonna take this brush right here that I smudged the lower lash line with and kind of smudge that in. Okay, let me go ahead and do my brows because they're driving me insane. Put some of this through. So there are these Chanel, are they quads? They're quints. They're pretty sure they're quints. And there's one that leans like super cool and one that leans super warm, which the warm one is this one that leans a little bit orange pink, but I think that since there's pink in what I'm doing right now, I don't want to do that. I might pull out the one that I actually know that I like, which is the intense one, just to kind of pull some of like this warm bronzy green into this eye look I have going on here. So I'm gonna grab, I wanted to just do the same brush I was using earlier. Okay, I'm gonna grab this brush and go into this kind of bronzy color here. And just over the lid, kind of blending out that darker shadow that I put closer to the lash line. And I really like layering up cool and warm like that, but in a way to make sure it doesn't go muddy. We'll just go in with this YSL mascara. And I'm not gonna go too nuts with the lashes today. I didn't apply a primer or anything. I just kind of want to coat them enough. So I'm trying to think, since I have this, if I want to go with more of like a golden highlight or a pink or just like a champagne, what would look best. And actually one thing that's not in, you know what, I have not used Champagne Pop in such a long time. I ought to put this in the basket for the month too. And the reason I don't use it is because I find this difficult to pair with things because it goes so gold on me. Whereas in the whole idea behind Champagne Pop when they came out with it is that it was supposed to look good on everyone. But I never really felt super comfy wearing it because again, it's just a little too yellow. I don't know if I want to use this to apply, but I've already started using this. I don't think, let me get it in this brush here, but like really work it in. So if I go lightly and like really work it in, it's not too much. Okay, I think that looks nice. I'm debating, I'm not gonna spray my face today. Let's do lips. I have this from Gucci. Do I want to go? You know what? We're going to do it because this isn't too far off from the tones in this. So this is obviously lighter, but it still kind of has some of those same tones. So I'm going to dab it in. And then this is also, by the way, in the shade Call It a Day. And it's the more sheer formula that they have. And then I want to go in with a lip liner. And we're going to go in with Stone from MAC. And again, because it has that really cool tone to it. All right, and this is the completed look. I actually like the look, which is funny because this is makeup that I am trying to like go through to determine if I want to declutter or not. But that's the thing though, if you know color theory, if a certain palette or a certain product does not work for you on its own, mixing it with something that is in the like a complementary color or something that's going to pull different tones from it will usually, not always, but will usually get it to work for you, and then it looks more balanced and nice. But yeah, this is the completed look. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed chatting with me. I know I feel like very low energy today because it's kind of like a lazy Sunday. But either way, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.